Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes Representative Olszewski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you, Deputy Secretary Rigas, for your time and for your service. I did hear in your confirmation hearing that your father spent over 25 years as a public school teacher.
That's right.
Please thank him for his service as a former public school teacher myself.
Oh, thank you, I will.
Colleagues, as we know, the administration claimed to shut down USAID, and while we can sit here and debate whether or not the process was legal, we can debate whether it was warranted. What we don't want to do is debate facts. And so a few weeks ago, Secretary Rubio wrote a eulogy of sorts for USAID. Unfortunately, it was a lie-filled mess. So I wanted to ask you, Mr. Rigas, as the Chief Operating Officer of the State Department, I want to get your feedback on a few of the statements in that document. The first claim from Secretary Rubio was that, quote, USAID had a near infinite taxpayer budget. Is that a statement that you agree with and support?
I think when you look at the spending that was taken, that the USAID department undertook, it's hard to justify how a lot of those dollars were spent unless people felt that there were no more important uses for those dollars than some of the, frankly, very wasteful spending that was done.
Okay, and I think as a member of this committee, I'd be more than welcome the opportunity to talk about how we could best spend those resources. But for me, it's just interesting that he would say that, considering back in 2017, he said, quote, foreign aid as a part of the overall budget. I know this just came up with the ranking member, is less than 1% of the total amount. I think you guys just talked about that and agreed. And anyone who tells you that we can slash foreign aid and it will bring us to balance is lying to you. So just, it might be a small number, we might disagree on how it's spent, but it certainly doesn't sound like near infinite to me. A second claim that Secretary Rubio made was that, quote, USAID marketed its programs as charity rather than instruments of American foreign policy intended to advance our national interests. Is that something you would support in terms of a statement about USAID?
I think if you look at sort of the mindset that, how else could you describe the mindset that would inform some of the spending that was done that was not life-saving humanitarian aid, but was kind of all of this social engineering spending that was not advancing American interests, and even the host countries themselves were not asking for it. You know, someone described it to me as sort of a reverse robbery where we hold a gun to their head and tell them to take our money. That's not a way to sort of conduct foreign assistance, I don't think.
Okay, I appreciate that. Again, contradicting himself, Secretary Rubio's past remarks was that foreign aid is not charity and it is, quote, critical to our national security, not a one-off statement. He's also said that if we give foreign aid because it is a, quote, cost-effective way to further our national interests. And I just want to share, in light of the deep cuts that's being proposed, I don't think there's a way to continue advancing those national interests, again, even if we disagree about any specific program. Another claim from Secretary Rubio was that, quote, USAID had little to show since the end of the Cold War. Is that a statement that you would agree with in terms of his assertions?
I think I would. I mean, I'd like to know what American national interest that made America safer, stronger, more prosperous could be tied to spending that was done by USAID.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate your response, but that claim is news to me. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce for the record an article and a study from Lancet that shows from 2011, which was after the Cold War, until 2021, USAID supported efforts to have helped prevent more than 91 million deaths, including 30 million deaths among children. In 2000, more than 1 in 4 people lived in extreme poverty. Today, that number is fewer than 1 in 10. And again, that's thanks in large part to USAID-led economic development programs. So I would argue that's not little to show, that's actually quite a bit.
Yeah,
so
the Secretary did exempt the humanitarian and life-saving assistance from his foreign aid review. So that kind of assistance, I think, would continue, but I think we'd want to see some kind of graduation strategy.
Again, I think it just will be hard to graduate when we are absolutely gutting all of that, including those economic development programs, which has, as I understand it, very little congressional oversight. It's one big lump sum with little oversight. So as I've said countless times on this committee, I'm all for reform. I'm willing to work with anyone to make sure our taxpayer dollars are used effectively. But as we think about the future of foreign assistance, we want to make sure that we're telling the truth about what's happening to the American people and being real about what the numbers represent and what that might limit us in being able to do. So again, I thank you for your time today, and Mr. Chairman, my time is up, and so I will yield back to you. Thank you.